What's up guys, welcome back to another video. We're back working on the T18. It's another questionable day here in Melbourne, on and off rain, but it doesn't matter because we are pushing through and getting things done. Now what we want to get done today is we have a hydraulic handbrake that we're going to be mounting and installing. So what we'll be doing today is actually just mounting the handbrake. We will run the lines and stuff next weekend at Damon's workshop. It's much easier to do it there than it is to do it here. So we have a handbrake that I bought on eBay. I run eBay handbrakes on all of my cars so far, and they seem to work pretty well. I've got a more expensive handbrake in the E36 drift car now, so this is the eBay handbrake that I bought, but I'm not the biggest fan of the actual handle itself. It's just kind of not tall enough. I didn't really like the way it looked, so I have a base of another old handbrake that I had in my E36 sitting here, so I decided to make my own handle. So I just made it out of a bit of pipe. Obviously it's got a BMX grip on the end of it. I've cut it and drilled holes so that it all fits and mounts up to our master cylinder here. So we're going to throw that together now. I've also obviously welded a piece of rod on the back here to reinforce it, just to give it a bit more strength down there. So we're going to throw the unit together, and then we're going to see how we're going to mount it in the car. Another thing I need to do today is, oh, the rain started again, always fun. So we obviously have this big hole here that we cut so that we could actually fit the BMW gearbox in the tunnel. So we're going to cover that up. Now there are a couple of mounting points up here that have 10mm bolts already threaded into the body. One here and one over here. So we're actually going to use those, create a new piece of metal that covers the box, and that's going to bolt up here, and then we're going to use some riv nuts to bolt it to the rest of the tunnel so that we can remove it if we want to. It gives us easy access to the slave cylinder, which sits right here, and we will need access to that when we're running our new clutch line. So that's kind of the main aim for today, and then I want to get all the carpet back into the front as well so that we can almost have the interior kind of back together. So that's what we're going to do, but first let's throw the hydraulic handbrake together. Cool, so it's all nicely back together. I think it looks great, come together really nicely. It's just a lot nicer than the other setup that I had. I don't know, I'm not really a big fan of it for some reason. I don't know, that just doesn't do it for me. But this looks nice and simple. The BMX grip's pretty cool. That just looks tidy. So now we're going to figure out exactly what position we want to have this in the car. So we'll jump in the car now. So having a working handbrake is really important for any drift car, and having a hydraulic handbrake is even better because they work at just the slightest pull if they're working properly, as opposed to a cable handbrake, which can get kind of tired over time as the cables stretch and get old. So they tend not to be as popular as the hydraulic handbrakes. So for us, the position that I like it is kind of somewhere quite close to the steering wheel, so that you don't have to move super far to get to the handbrake. Nice and quick, and then just boom, straight back. So I think we're going to have it somewhere around here, so it's nice and close to the steering wheel, but not too close that it's going to get in the way. So now what we need to do is figure out if that's going to work with our shifter position, and if so, we need to weld a plate in here because the metal in the stock tunnel is quite flimsy. So if we mount it straight to this, it'll move from side to side and it'll flex, and that's exactly what you don't want. So we're going to weld a piece of plate in here, and then we'll, boom, screw the handbrake to that piece of plate, and we should be pretty well good for our mounting position of our handbrake. So we've removed the driver's seat. I'm going to go ahead, I've smashed all the sound deadening off here. We're going to go ahead and grind it down to get ready to weld in our piece of box tubing that we've cut up. And it's going to sit in there nicely. I'll show you guys how it's going to sit after we grind it down. I just want to interrupt the video to tell you guys something that I forgot to tell you at the start. I'm now self-employed. Last week was my last ever week at my job working for someone. I'm now working for myself, which means I have a bunch more time to be doing YouTube videos, which is what I want to be doing. so I get to hang out with you guys way more, so I hope you guys can join me in celebrating that awesome milestone. Anyway, let's get back to the hydraulic handbrake. Awesome, so we've grinded the paint off, so it's going to be nice for welding. I beat this a little bit just to get a bit flatter. And we're going to have a piece of box section that's just going to literally sit nice and flat. We're going to weld that top and bottom, and then a hydraulic handbrake will bolt to that. Pretty rad, very simple setup, works really well. So we're going to go ahead and weld this on now. Awesome, so I've got a piece of sheet metal here that I've marked out some marks on, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a nice big rectangle out of that, and that's what's going to cover our gearbox tunnel. So first we'll cut it and then we'll bend it to shape once we kind of figure out exactly how it needs to go. Sorry guys, I got a bit carried away with the gearbox tunnel, but that's how it looks, nice and bent up. Looks alright, definitely will do the job. Shifter still sitting in the right spot where it needs to be, plenty of clearance for everything. Sitting higher because we still have to raise the gearbox up a little bit when we actually make the gearbox cross member. But we're going to go ahead now and see if we can fit the carpet, also obviously bolt the hydraulic handbrake in place, and see kind of how everything's going to sit now that we have everything in the car as it needs to be. So exciting times. Alright, we got the carpet back in. She's starting to come together. Thing looks awesome. So we've got the handbrake as well sitting where we want it to sit. That's where the shifter is going to be as well. So we'll go ahead and actually mount the handbrake at the moment because it's just sitting there, which means we need to take the master cylinder and the handle off so that we can actually bolt the bracket to the box section that we've welded to the car, and then we can put it all back together. And that is that. And then once you put all the plastics around and everything back on, you really can't tell that it's been modified the way it is, which is pretty cool. But yeah, really starting to come together. And there we have it. The handbrake is all mounted. It's really solid, which is awesome. Pull it. Whoop, whoop. Rad. Very cool. It's going to be such a freaking cool car once it's finished. Damn. And there we have it guys. The handbrake is installed. The tunnel is done. The carpet is in. We're in a good spot. We're making slow but steady progress on this thing. Next weekend we'll be making a huge amount of progress because we will be back at Damon's workshop putting the roll cage in and doing a bunch of other stuff, so that this thing will basically should roll out of his shop ready to kind of go. Fingers crossed. Probably a couple of small jobs left to do, but really it's coming together very nicely. We also need to figure out how we're going to work the exhaust on the car, but I'm thinking, me and Damon had the idea that we'll have the exhaust obviously come down and then come out the driver's side fender down here somewhere in like teardrops, maybe twin teardrops, or even just a single teardrop, because you know we love them teardrops, just to be a little bit different. Not that this car isn't already different enough, but yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. I definitely know I am. There's lots more to be done, so make sure you stay tuned. I also have a couple other videos out during the week. We're taking the E36 to the dyno on Tuesday in 2 days. I am doing an M50 manifold swap on that, so I have that here. I'm going to do that tomorrow night, so you guys will get that video, and also you'll get the dyno video. One of the things with the E36, we didn't realise that we weren't using the Vanos when we're tuning, so we're tuning with the Vanos off, which apparently makes a huge difference in terms of spooling the turbo up and bringing the torque on earlier, which is cool because it's been a little bit laggy, I'm not going to lie, with the turbo that we've got on it, which is the TD0625G. So we'll be dyno tuning the E36 in 2 days and getting that ready for the next drift event, which is in a couple of weeks. Also have to make another extended LCA because we bent one of the LCAs when we hit Damon, and just give the thing a bit of a refresh quickly, make sure everything's all good before you drift it. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram @itsmikellake, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.